is Savannah Thompson, and I will be doing my interview for my oral history report. Please state your name, relation to me, and your political party affiliate.
My name is Aaron Thompson, and I am Savannah's husband, and I'm a registered Republican.
Okay. Who did you vote for the 2016 election, and why?
I voted for Donald Trump, not just because I did not want Hillary Clinton to be president, but largely because I truly do believe that he did at the time have the right plans for this country, and I still think he does today.
Okay. Were you on board with any one candidate that was running for president?
I was not initially on board with Donald Trump. The 2016 election was my first, not introduction to politics, but my personal involvement in just how I felt, my own opinions. I was initially very excited when Ted Cruz announced he was running for president. My roommate and I, our freshman year at Liberty, we were both hobbyist political analysts, looking over all the different candidates, and he's a statistics major, and so we would look at all the polls and statistics, and initially we were both positive on Trump Cruz. I felt like Ben Carson had a really good heart, but I don't think he had the necessary skills to be a president. But then eventually my roommate slowly but surely brought me onto Donald Trump. And instead of just seeing the bombastic TV personality side of him, I got to know him on a much more, I guess, truer level, without all the personality TV mask, but just how he is with his employees and his workers and how he treats people on a day-to-day basis. And what I saw surprised me in a very good way. And just reading and watching interviews from former employees of him, and not just like janitors in his hotel, although they did have good things to say about him, but his personal butler at his Mar-a-Lago residence, or just different campaign people who served in his campaign in different capacities. And at that point, I was very on board with Donald Trump, because despite the public persona he puts on, he's a very good-hearted person.
So you stated before you were initially on with Ted Cruz and not Trump. So did you know a lot about the different candidates that were running and why they were running for president for the 2016 election?
So, my very first visit to Liberty was a week before Ted Cruz announced he was running for president at Convocation at Liberty. And I felt that Ted Cruz, he initially, from a Southern conservative roots perspective, had all the right things, said all the right things. He hit hard on the issues that conservatives have been hitting hard on forever, such as abortion and LGBTQ rights, and the Supreme Court case with that. And he hit hard on those topics while also focusing on the economy. But what made Trump different was that now, while he's very personally against abortion, and he is very pro-life on a personal level, I think he's walking cautiously in terms of legislation and his policing in that area, but he didn't come out very strong against LGBT, and he decided not to make that an issue in his campaign. And that kind of made me think, okay, are there other areas that we've been under focusing because of that, like winning topics such as immigration or the economy.
Okay. Which of Trump's policies did you disagree with, if any?
Mainly at the beginning, um, as a conservative and as a Christian, but primarily as a Christian, I was not, for me, um, I just disagreed with his positions on LGBTQ. Um, on the record, President Trump is more embracing of LGBTQ individuals than any other president in history. Excuse me. Obama was the first president to embrace that, but it happened towards the end of his term, and he was extraordinarily hesitant to do that in his 2008 election run. And it was a very big deal for his 2012 election run when he did come out and embrace that. And Trump was very LGBT friendly from the beginning. And in that sense, because he made it a non issue because there were then no major candidates against LGBT rights and gay marriage and that whole spectrum of political issues. And he diverted the attention to, I would say, more nation building issues. But initially, that was a hump I had to get over and realize that he's not my pastor, and I do not look towards him for my spiritual guidance, but he is the president.
Okay. Were you involved with Keeping Up with the Trumps?
As I said earlier, my roommate and we paid very close attention during our freshman year at Liberty, which was 2015 through 2016, and into our sophomore year, which was 2016, during the election, and then the first months of his presidency in 2017. And we both kept very close attention of just keeping up with the Trumps, and not just in a tabloid-esque manner, but just drama happened here and drama happened here and look at Trump's hair and it's orange and he looks orange and all that stuff, but also just with trying to see, okay, what's going on, not necessarily behind the scenes, but a little bit of that, but just what's going on with that people and what the mainstream media isn't pointing out. And that was a very interesting time.
How do you feel now that we are 3 years into Trump's presidency?
I feel very happy about what he has accomplished so far. It was extremely unfortunate that a repeal and replace or something to get rid of Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act and have a better plan in place. I'm very unfortunate that that did not go through, but I'm very happy that the tax plan did go through. It was the stimulus bill to our economy, what Obama's stimulus bill was not. And former President Barack Obama said once in an interview, "What magic wand does Donald Trump think he has? GDP growth will never ever hit 3%. Well, now it's way over 3%. We've had quarters at almost 4%. And every major economist has been blown away at the basic notion of just empowering the American people to do what they want to do and not hindering them at every step with regulations and tax burdens. And these little crumbs that Nancy Pelosi said, that the tax breaks are just little crumbs for the middle class. These little crumbs drive the entire economy. And that is one of the biggest things, but also with that he has not given up and he has consistently fought for the border wall. And just on immigration, because that is an extremely big issue. Over 200,000 illegal immigrants cross the border every single month, over 1 million per year, and a lot of people just want to get out of the bad situations they're in. But there's also a lot of people that want to put us in the bad situations that they're in. And every other country in the world, no one cares if they have strong borders. No one gives a fuss if Japan doesn't let in illegal immigrants, or if Japan doesn't let in Middle Eastern refugees or African refugees. But if Donald Trump doesn't want it, it's the biggest sin in the whole wide world. Lastly, an issue that is very seldom focused and talked about, that will probably be very close to the heart of Christians around the country, is child sex trafficking. And Donald Trump has been the president in human history for fighting child sex trafficking and child sex slavery. He has made more arrests of distributors and makers of child pornography, and more arrests of those who traffic not just adults but children for sexual purposes in his first 2 years of his presidency than all other presidents in history combined. At least Obama and Bush, and they're both their 8-year terms. And it's staggering how much he talks about it, and how little attention is given to setting captives free.
Which of President Trump's changes do you personally feel have benefited you? So just you. Not the economy, not your neighbor, you personally as an individual.
So I'm an accounting major, and I handle lots of finances. And off the top of my head, first is obviously the tax bill has benefited me greatly. Now currently I'm a lower income individual. I do not have a full-time job. I have a part-time job, and I'm a student. But the tax bill not only has it reduced my tax burden from very little to zero, as I make very little money. I pay very little taxes, as it should be. It has made my future more bright, and my week-to-week paycheck is bigger because there are less paycheck taxes taken out of my paycheck. And that affects me on a week-to-week basis. And secondary is, under the Affordable Care Act, the individual mandate. So if you did not have health insurance that is deemed good enough to count as coverage, you would have to pay the individual mandate tax, which is not a tax anymore. And there was a period of time where after I got married, now I was not sure if I was still on my parents' health insurance or not. Turns out I was, even after I was married. But there was a period of time where my wife was not on health insurance. And it was very harrowing looking at that individual mandate. And I'm very thankful that President Trump, although he wasn't able to legislatively through Congress get rid of the mandate, he reduced the mandate to $0, making it effectively nothing and not a burden. And as someone who, again, was at that moment making combined $30,000 a year between two people, looking at paying $1,000 in health insurance every month was not the best option.
What do you think of the Democrats that are currently in Congress?
How many clowns can you fit in a clown car? Probably the entirety of the Democrat caucus. They are doing nothing but obstructing. I believe they have many skeletons in their closet that now that Trump is president, they are very scared that he would try to open, and they, I believe and observe that they are acting like someone trapped in a corner with no way out, and they are flinging everything because that's all they can do, and they have not, in since the 5 months that they have held power in the House, proposed any legitimate, realistic pieces of legislation. All they've done is obstruct, obstruct, obstruct. And well, there's the Green New Deal, which, after it went to a vote in the Senate, not a single Democrat voted for the Green New Deal. And so it's all theater and it's all play, and I think they're just wasting everyone's time.
Okay. Last question. Are you going to vote for President Trump for the next election?
Um, yes, I will be voting for Donald J. Trump for president in 2020.
All right. Thank you so much.